Good morning, everybody, or actually good afternoon at this point. My name is Mark. I'm from Olympus. I'm a tech rep, and I'm here to do a little digital 101 with everybody. So you have different types of cameras for different users, and it goes up and down the scale. Some of you have had film cameras and you don't want to carry big bulky SLRs anymore, and now you want to go to small convenient type cameras. So you can go to something real simple and easy. You know, something like from our FE series. Actually, one of the FE cameras still use AA batteries, so depending on what your preference is power-wise, that might be important to you. You may want to think about, do I want to have to worry about recharging a battery, or do I want to just throw AA's in and move on from there? As far as rangefinder or electronic viewfinder, we only have one in our lineup in the point-and-shoot realm that would kind of cover this, and this is the SP570. This is what we call an ultra zoom camera. It's a 20-time optical zoom camera. In my hand, you've got the equivalent of a 26mm wide-angle lens all the way up to 504mm worth of telephoto. This actual camera does something really neat that I'm not able to do with my SLRs just quite yet, and this one will actually do 13 frames a second. Now also, this is a little bit more advanced because it also has a hot shoe, so I can put, besides the pop-up flash, I can utilize external flashes, so there are more accessories that I can do with this than I can actually do here down on the point-and-shoot, real point-and-shoot level. Then you have SLR or single lens reflex camera. What that means is that you've got a camera that has an interchangeable lens system. I can remove the lens and put a different lens on if I want or not. So again, you have versatility of being able to go up to and including something like this. You've got different types of things for people who want to get into different types of photography. For those of you who may consider underwater photography, you'll need a housing unless you get a waterproof camera. This camera is rated for 33 feet. If you go beyond 33 feet, it will leak, and then you void warranties. But if you put it in the housing, you're good for 131 feet. Now also with underwater cameras, be advised that even though it's waterproof, if you open up a side door or compartment on the camera that's sealed, like where your USB plug goes, and water will get in there and then destroy the camera. Histogram, I don't know if any of you have ever seen this before in your camera. Basically, this is like the old days when the guys went out there with the light meters. What this means is it's looking at the whole scale of light out there, and you've got highlights, midtones, shadow detail. You try to not bunch everything up to one side or the other. You want to kind of get a nice curve going on there so you have plenty of information through the whole range to work with, unless you're trying to do something called a low-key or a high-key shot. And when I mean low-key or high-key, think about the bride and groom. Traditional black tuxedo, very little detail usually shown on something like that because, again, it's all shadow detail. So that would be a low-key shot. I want to concentrate on the shadow detail and pull out the difference in the lapel from the actual opening of the jacket, or see different nuances possibly in the material. Contrast, again, how many of you have ever taken that picture of the outdoor scene and the sky just goes white? By playing around with contrast, if you have that opportunity on your camera, you can control that and play around with a little bit of the metering of the light. So if you metered a little closer down here, you may get something different than if you metered up here. Most of us will put the crosshairs right on the middle of the photograph and go to take the picture, but when it averages everything in, this pretty blue sky is going to go white. So you want to find that contrast. Or you can use something called a polarizing filter on an SLR, where you can actually pull out more of that contrast or cut a reflection if you're shooting through windows, if you're window shopping. A lot of people try to avoid using flash. They're afraid of it. I like shooting ambient light photography, but there are times that I'll use my flash, and there are times that I get creative with the flash just to fill a shadow or kind of do a little bit more with the camera. You can dial the flash down a little bit, make it less intensive, or use some kind of a product to diffuse the light a little bit. If you look at the fourth picture in on the bottom row there, the girl with the red hair and the green eyes, that's a studio shot that I did using strobe lights, but it looks pretty natural because, again, I adjusted my lighting accordingly. I used one light and a reflector to give them nice, soft, even lighting across the face. Lots of little symbols. What do they all mean? Auto is pretty much where everybody goes, but it doesn't always work the best. Full fill-in flash. We've all taken this photograph. Rule of thumb, everybody thinks, oh, I've got to have the light behind me to take the photograph. No. By using a fill flash, I can actually fill in the shadows and even out my exposure, even though the light is not in the most opportune place. The flash exposure compensation, the plus and minus, this is important to know because, again, if you're doing this, you need to play with that so you get nice, even photographs and they look natural. Red eye reduction flash actually throws out that little burst of flash. Problem is that the person that you're taking the picture of, when they see that, they figure, oh, you took the picture, bye-bye. Not the case. If people are going to get red eye, you wear glasses. I'm sure you get red eye in a lot of your photographs. People with light colored eyes get red eye quite a bit. Here's a trick. If you're having a formal portrait taken, take the back of your glasses and tilt them up just a little bit. The back right on the ear changes the angle that the light is hitting the eye. So now you don't get the red eye. If you think about the wedding photographer, they take the flash off the camera and they move it way the heck over here, right? And that's because they don't want red eye. They don't want that flash in the eyes. They don't want that to happen. The slow curtain is another creative way of doing different things. This was just one of those goofy scenes downtown at Halloween. I like the movement behind Apollo, but yet the slow sync flash kept him nice and sharp. Some basic rules of composition, rule of thirds. Think about a tic-tac-toe board and place your subject where it would be visually interesting in that tic-tac-toe board. A lot of times people, just put the picture smack dab in the middle. By moving it off into one of the other quadrants, it kind of draws your eye around depending on what you're doing. Quality of light, trying different times of the day, shooting the same subject matter. It changes how things look. The worst time of day to actually go out and shoot somebody is middle of the day because, again, hard light coming straight down, not very pleasing. So nice soft light in the early morning or the late afternoon makes things a little bit different. Like on the girl in the middle over here, real late in the day, and you can see by the direction of the light that it's late in the afternoon. Makes it very pleasing. And that is it. You've all weathered my class.